The time is now 7 p.m. and I'll call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Beloit City Council. We're here at 100 State Street, Beloit, Wisconsin in the City Hall Forum, and today is Monday, June 2nd, 2014. Can I have a roll call?
All councilors are present.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 is special orders of the day and announcements. 3A.
Proclamation in recognition of National Neighbor Works Week, June 7th to the 14th, 2014.
Vice President Haynes.
Whereas National Neighborhood Works Week was initiated in 1984 by a United States congressional resolution co-sponsored by more than 240 members of Congress and signed by President Reagan. Whereas the formal introduction of National Neighbor Works Week occurred in the spring of 1986 and began an annual national celebration held at the first through the second Saturday in June. And whereas the National Neighbor Works Week is a celebration of neighborhood pride and unity among organizations in more than 4,414 urban, suburban, and rural communities across the country. And whereas the National Neighbor Works Week celebrates the efforts of local organizations working with partners and volunteers to create healthier communities, and whereas Neighborhood Housing Services of Beloit, a Neighbor Works organization, has worked in the city of Beloit for 35 years. Now, therefore, the City Council President of the City of Beloit does hereby proclaim the week of June 7th through June 14th, 2014 to be National Neighbor Works Week in the city of Beloit, Wisconsin, and urges all citizens to participate in the activities planned by the Neighborhood Housing Services of Beloit, specifically to visit their display at the Beloit Farmers Market on Saturday, June 7th, and attend the neighborhood picnic in the Neighborhood Housing Services office at 520 West Grand Avenue, Wednesday, June 11th, declared this second day of June 2014. Mark Spreitzer, Council President.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. In honor of that, we have brochures for our picnic coming up. So if I leave them right there, everybody's welcome to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 3B.
Proclamation recognizing June 4, 2014 as Day of Kindness.
Vice President Haynes.
Official proclamation. Whereas the city of Beloit is committed to celebrating the role simple kindness plays in encouraging authentic caring and connections in schools, businesses, and the community. And whereas in the heart of all of us lies the power of kindness, and by using this power we promote healthy behaviors and positive attitudes. And whereas we seek to cultivate compassion within our community through our youth by teaching them to make a difference through kindness. And whereas through participating in the Day of Kindness, members of the greater Beloit community are reminded of the positive ripple effects of benevolence. And whereas citizens are encouraged to tap into their own human spirit and shared kindness with one another, thereby nourishing and strengthening our community. And whereas all genuine acts of kindness, big and small, can make a difference in our community and our world. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council President of the City of Beloit does hereby proclaim June 4th, 2014 as a Day of Kindness to demonstrate our commitment to the community in the spirit of compassion, kindness, and goodwill towards all persons. Presented this second day of June, 2014. Mark Spreitzer, Council President. If someone to accept the proclamation?
The intended party has made it, so
All right.
just let it stand as a red.
Item 4 is public hearings. 4A.
Proposed ordinance amending the future land use map of the city of Beloit. Comprehensive plan to change the future land use designation of the property located at 1601 Gateway Boulevard from planned neighborhood to parks and open space, and to change the future land use designation of the property located at 1801 Gateway Boulevard from planned neighborhood to business park.
Ms. Christensen.
These two pieces of land are as part of the land we bought from MLG, which is north of the Eagles Ridge West subdivision. The Planning Commission did approve a CSM, which divided that city-owned lot into 1601 Gateway Boulevard and 1801 Gateway Boulevard. Both properties were set aside for planned neighborhood due to that residential subdivision, but given that everything has changed with us purchasing the property, the proposal is to change the 1601 Gateway Boulevard from planned neighborhood to parks and open space. This is the smaller parcel, and the intent was to provide a buffer between the residential neighborhood and whatever uses are in the business park. With the next agenda item with the rezoning that to public lands and institutions, and then 1801 Gateway Boulevard from planned neighborhood to business park, with the zoning request being for C1 office. We did send notices out to the neighborhood, to the surrounding area, and did not hear any comments or concerns from the neighbors. Plan Commission did review the comprehensive plan amendment and actually the zoning as well, and recommended approval of both.
Thank you. Councilor Lupke.
Just wanted to, this pertains to the prior one, our recipient is here, so I just wanted to let you know for the prior item.
Thank you. Steve McNeil, would you like to approach the podium? Thank you for coming. We read your proclamation a moment ago and would like to present it to you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I had a Boys and Girls Club event today, so sorry. Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of the School District of Beloit, we really appreciate your this whole action. It's a very important topic for us and our kids, and it's something that we're going to move forward with strong conviction. So thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yep, thank you.
On item 4A, this is a public hearing. If anybody would wish to speak on item 4A, please approach the podium now and state your name and address for the record. Second call on item 4A, is there anyone wishing to speak? Third and final call, is there anyone wishing to speak on item 4A in the public hearing? If not, the public hearing is closed. Are there any questions for Ms. Christensen, or is there a motion to suspend the rules? Councilor DeForest.
Thank you. Sorry, my computer is... It just crashed again. Did yours come? I just wanted to double check about the noticing of the residents. Thank you. Can you scroll down on yours? 'Cause I
The
can't scroll
residents
down.
are notified of the rezoning request. They're not notified of the comprehensive plan amendment, but because we took action on them at the same time, they were notified at the same time that the public hearing was held on the comprehensive plan amendment.
Okay.
For both.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that that was completed. Are we using the signs that we talked about in the past on the property that's being proposed to be rezoned? We've been using those?
Yeah, we went with different kinds of signs
Okay.
because the signs we had were being stolen. So we went with a cheaper model that, if stolen, wasn't the end of the world.
Right.
We had these big metal signs, and then sometimes they also got stuck in the ground if the ground was frozen. But we've gone with a different kind of thing where we can actually put the notices up. But yes, we are still doing that for the
Okay.
rezonings.
Great, I just wanted to make sure that we had given, done due diligence and notice, so.
And I don't know if you were in the room when I mentioned that Matt Finnegan, who's now on Plan Commission, did talk to Joel Otto from Central Christian Church, who lives on that street. And he did indicate that the neighborhood didn't have concerns about those two uses. They felt they were more comfortable with that.
Good. I just wanted to make sure they felt there was enough of a buffer there, so.
As
No
far as Matt
comments.
knew, there weren't any issues, because he
Okay.
did kind of do that check.
Okay, great. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Councilor Lupke.
A motion to suspend the rules.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Lupke, second by Kincaid. Are there any questions or discussion on suspending the rules? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's approved 6-0. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Kincaid, second by Lupke. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's approved 6-0. Item 4B.
Proposed ordinance amending zoning district map to change the zoning district classification of the property located at 1601 Gateway Boulevard from R1A Single Family Residence District to PLI Public Lands and Institutions District, and to change the zoning district classification of the property located at 1801 Gateway Boulevard from R1A Single Family Residence District to C1 Office District.
This is the rezoning step, as I indicated earlier, and actually Judy just indicated as well. The 1601 Gateway Boulevard is being proposed to be changed from R1A Single Family Residential District to PLI Public Lands Institutions District. This is the piece that's adjacent to the residential neighborhood. And then 1801 Gateway Boulevard is being proposed to be changed from R1A Single Family Residential District to C1 Office District. And so Andrew would then be marketing it for office-type uses, not the industrial-type uses that are in the other part of the business park.
Thank you. I'll now open the public hearing on item 4B. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Please approach the podium. Second call on item 4B. Please approach the podium if you wish to speak. Third and final call on item 4B. If no one wishes to speak, I'll close the public hearing. Are there any questions, or is there a motion to suspend the rules? Moved by Haynes, second by Kelly. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's approved 6-0. Is there a motion on the merits?
Motion on the merits. Second.
Moved by Lupke, second by Haynes. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's approved 6-0. Item 5 is citizens' participation. We've reached the point in the meeting for members of the public to speak to the council about issues that are coming before us or may come before us in the future. The council will not act on any requests this evening unless the item you're speaking about is already on our agenda, but we may act on requests at a future meeting, or we may refer a speaker to staff for assistance. We ask that you hold your comments to 3 minutes or less and avoid making personal attacks. I do have one sheet of residents wishing to speak. Donald and Pamela Parrish, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Donald Parrish, 1600 Sun Valley Drive.
Pamela Parrish, 1600 Sun Valley Drive.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the Beloit City Council. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and you each should have a handout that I've given to you. And I'd like to introduce my daughter Pamela, and at this time I'll turn it over to her.
Hello, City Council members. My name's Pamela, and I live with my parents at 1600 Sun Valley Drive. I'm a student at UW Green Bay, and I'll be a junior this fall, majoring in political science, public administration, and environmental policy and planning with a GPA of 4.0. Tonight, I would like to speak to you about EPA problems that the residents of the 1600 block of Sun Valley Drive face. As you may or may not know, the 1600 block of Sun Valley Drive lies at a basin, and stormwater rushes over the surrounding hillside, as depicted in the pictures in the handout, with heavy rainfall. The storm drains were put back in the 1950s, which I might add is when my father was born. The point I would like to make is the storm drains are not as efficient as they possibly could be. Since replacement of the storm drains would be very costly to the city, it is very crucial that lawn clippings not be blown into the streets clogging the storm drains. The city of Beloit has ordinances regarding the gutters and streets to be a no-grass zone. Therefore, despite my mother and father's best efforts to inform code enforcement to address the offenders, it seems that the same parties continue to disobey the city ordinance. A $172 citation is associated with this ordinance that is evidently not being addressed or enforced. The end result is that the 1600 block of Sun Valley Drive gets flooded, or worse yet, the water gets into the city sewer system and ultimately backs up into the residents' basements. The first 5 years that we lived in our house, we incurred such incidents, with 3 floodings in our basement. Since that is an environmental issue, it would be greatly appreciated if the City Council would respond to appropriate agencies to resolve the issue. Thank you for allowing my father and I to speak, and if you have any questions about the photos in the handout, we would be more than willing to answer them. Thank you again for your time and consideration in the ongoing problem.
Thank you for coming to speak tonight.
Do you have any questions on any of the photos? The back ones are kind of grainy, but it shows grass clippings in the street.
Councilor Lupke?
I'm just glad that Pam's a graduate of Beloit Memorial High School.
Councilor DeForest?
Thank you. Can we just make sure that Ms. Christensen will talk with you about helping code enforcement get involved to address this issue? That would be great. You have? Okay. Great. Thank you.
Well, it's the same people over and over again that keep doing it, though.
Mm-hmm.
And if they've issued a fine, then I would think they would stop doing it, but it's the same ones over and over again.
So would a two-party complaint help speed up the process?
Yeah, that's what they're gonna have to do.
The problem is the ordinance says that no one shall cause grass to be blown into the street. We have to actually see them blow it into the
Right.
street. I mean, I don't know if Tom can speak better to that, but.
So could a two-party complaint form address
Yeah,
that?
Yes,
That's
a
what
two-party
they're gonna
complaint
have.
form would work, and I have suggested that. And we're just, essentially what it comes down to is we have 4 inspectors citywide. We don't always see that. We have issued order letters, even though we didn't see it, just to bring it to people's attention, but unless we see it, we can't actually write that ticket. And that's where the frustration comes from everybody. I mean, not just them, but us as well. And the same thing with moving snow into the street. We have that same problem with that particular ordinance where the inspector has to see it and identify the person, and the ticket has to be written to the person, not the property owner. Like everything else, solid waste and stuff, we can write it to the property owner. Whether they put it there or not, we can do that, but with the way the ordinance is written for grass, the attorney has said we have to, not Tom, but Beth, that we have to actually see it happen, and that's where it's difficult to actually write that ticket. We can write the letters, and we did actually issue about 230 weed orders just last week, just for not mowing. So we are getting out there and trying to address the issue.
Vice President Haynes.
Thank you.
Julie, could you give the parishes a block of instruction on how to use the two-party complaint and what they need to accomplish to help you with that? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any others wishing to speak tonight during citizens' participation? If so, please approach the podium now. Second call for anyone wishing to speak during citizens' participation. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak during citizens' participation. If not, I will close citizens' participation. Item 6 is the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda. Are there any councilors wishing to remove an item from the consent agenda? Councilor DeForest.
I'd like to request, Mr. President, that item L be removed, please.
Are there any other councilors wishing to remove an item from the consent agenda? If not, the consent agenda consists of items A through K and item M. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Lubke, second by Kelly. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's approved 6-0. Item 6L.
Resolution authorizing final payment of Public Works Contract C-1304, Pullman Field Concourse Rehab.
Mr. Boyson.
Let's see. So Pullman Field, the RH Wallach and Company Limited has completed construction on project C-1304, Pullman Field Concourse Rehab, and has submitted all the required paperwork for, and bonds. Final payment is now needs to be issued. This project rehabilitated the concourse of Pullman Field by replacing the deteriorated asphalt with new concrete, improved surface drainage, and constructed a rain garden. The engineering division has recommended approval of this final payment.
Councilor DeForest, did you have a question on this?
Yes, I do. Thank you. My computer keeps locking up. I guess the meat of it is I want to make sure that the work completed was satisfactory, that it is completed, and that one of our engineers went out to eyeball it to actually look at it.
Yes, and there was a little bit of a concern early in the year that there were some cracks that developed, so
Right.
they actually came to an agreement to remove and replace those cracked slabs that are of concern, so that's all
Okay.
been completed now.
Good, so we're satisfied with that.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, or is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Moved by Lubke, second by Haynes. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's approved 6-0. Item 7A.
Proposed ordinance to repeal and recreate Chapter 10 of the Code of General Ordinances of the City of Beloit relating to the electrical code.
Ms. Christensen.
This is on your agenda for action. You had the first reading at your last meeting. The major change in this ordinance is to remove the ability to license electrical contractors. The deputy city attorney did work with the planning and building services director to reorganize the whole ordinance, did strengthen the enforcement language, make it a little more clear, and then we did include in there a new reinspection fee if someone just doesn't show up when we go out to do the inspection. But the rest of it is really just kind of reorganized and remains unchanged.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Moved by Haynes, second by Kelly. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That's approved 6-0. Item 7B.
Proposed ordinance to amend sections of the Code of General Ordinances of the City of Beloit pertaining to wastewater pretreatment system.
Mr. Mathis?
Yes, good evening. At last council meeting, Cheryl Simplot, our pretreatment coordinator, I thought did a wonderful job describing what this process is and why we had to do it. Back in March, we had our audit, and the DNR recognized a few items of interest that they wanted us to change in the ordinance. So what this simply did is did a little bit of a housekeeping in the current ordinance, and that's what you see in front of you. And we're looking to move forward with this and approve as noted.
Thank you. Are there any questions, or is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Kincaid, second by Lubke. Counselor DeForest.
Thank you. For the sake of the public, I would like to ask about the $30 well permitting fee.
That's the next item.
Oh, sorry. Where am I? My computer is completely, I cannot get to where I need to be. Okay, thank you.
That's the next item.
I have no questions about this.
All right. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's approved 6-0. Item 7C.
Proposed ordinance to amend the table of contents, sections 27.01 sub 1, 27.02, 27.03 sub 2, 27.03 sub 4, 27.04, 27.11, 27.15, 27.16, 27.18 sub 2, 27.18 sub 5, 27.19 sub 2, 27.19 sub 4, and 27.20 to create section 27.15 sub 3 sub C and repeal section 27.20 of chapter 27 of the Code of General Ordinances of the City of Beloit as it relates to private wells.
That deserves a round of applause. Mr. Mathis.
Forgive me for that. That's, as you very well know, the City of Beloit Water Utility is required to develop and implement a comprehensive back to the wellhead again, a private well permitting and abandonment program, as indicated in our September 14, 2012 annual audit. The program is designed to protect the utility's drinking water source from contaminants that may be introduced through inadequately designed, maintained, or contaminated private wells. So to that end, what we'd like to do, move forward with is that the DNR requires municipal water systems to prevent unused, unsafe, and non-compliant wells from contamination of aquifers used in the public drinking water supply. We want to protect the water quality of Beloit's water utility's drinking water supply, provide for a methodology to permit and monitor private wells within the corporate boundary of the City of Beloit. And through that, we revised the Chapter 27 to reflect these necessary changes. As I mentioned in the workshop, this program serves as a bookend to the wellhead protection plan that we enacted last year. And both programs serve to identify potential sources of contamination and again provides methods to minimize the risk to our drinking water source. That's what this is all about. Our records indicate there are 149 properties served by the water system. So there's a total of 149 potential wells. Of those 149 properties, 21 have a well. 25 have both well and septic. And the remaining 103 have abandoned wells that we'll need to confirm. Those 103 that I speak of show up in our system as paying a regular water bill. So that indicates to us that they are part of the water system, but there is a well on their property that still needs to be inspected and assure that it's been abandoned properly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Counselor DeForest, did you have a question on this item?
Thank you. I did want to ask a question about the well permitting fee. Could you describe the rationale for the fee? And I also wanted to just make sure I asked if you thought there was any concern that by charging that fee that it might deter someone from working with you to abandon it correctly.
Well, anytime you associate a fee, it always serves as it serves as a negative connotation. I understand what you're saying, but in order to implement this program fully, there's going to be a certain level of effort up front. The actual permitting, the inspection, staff will have to inspect the staff for cross connection, or inspect the properties for cross connections. There will be sampling that needs to be taken place. So all that level of effort, I think, justifies the $30 fee, which we plan on waiving for the first round. So in other words, the fees won't go into effect for another 5 years. It's a 5-year cycle for the permits. The first go-around, we will waive that permit fee.
Mr. Mathis, to follow up on that, does that mean that if somebody abandons their well at this stage, they would never pay a permit fee, and the only people who would pay that would be those who intend to continue operating a well going forward?
That is correct.
Thank you.
And I did a brief survey of 7 communities in Wisconsin, and the average fee is $32. It goes on from $10 to $60, so we're in the ballpark.
Can I also ask about outreach to the property owners where those wells are located, those abandoned wells in particular? So will you be attempt to make the contact with them? I mean, is it conceivable that someone could have an abandoned well on their property and not even be aware of it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yes. If properties change hands, what we plan on doing initially is send out postcards. We made small postcards we're going to send to the property owners, asking them, hey, do you have a well, do you have a septic system? Just do a little outreach that way. I expect a good response. I think everybody understands the need to protect our groundwater and our drinking water supply, so I think we'll get a good response. But I do believe there are properties out there of the 103 that they may not realize that there may be an abandoned well. In fact, there was a gentleman last month that a sinkhole developed on his property. And it was an old cistern. So I think it's definitely possible, absolutely. And what we need to do is assure that that well is abandoned properly. Mm-hmm. And that's the gist of this program, is assure that the well is producing, that the well is functional, it's mechanically sound, and there is no method for contamination.
Right.
And especially with abandoned wells. Because if you don't
Absolutely.
know what's there, it could serve as a conduit to our drinking water. So we have to assure that it's been abandoned properly.
Definitely a high priority, thank
Yep,
you.
yep.
I do have one other question. I don't know if this might be a question more appropriate for Mr. Casper. So this ordinance, as it reads, includes the $30 fee, even though Mr. Mathis has said that the city's not planning on pursuing the collection of a $30 fee for this first permit round. Do we need to be explicit about that in this ordinance?
I believe we can do that administratively, although if the council feels more comfortable, certainly an amendatory sentence could be added that, to the effect that that fee will not be imposed for the first application of any well,
Okay,
first
thank
such
you.
application.
All right, thank you.
Are there any further questions? Councilor DeForest.
So, given that, I would like to request that an amendment is made to the ordinance to reflect the language that the well permitting fee will be waived. I don't know how we're going to put this language, and I'm trying to think what would be the most appropriate. Any help, Mr. Casper, on how we should articulate it?
Mr. President, can I help out here just a bit? If you look at section 2719, it says fees for permits, licenses, and water analysis. If you amend that subparagraph 2 underneath there to note that there shall be a $30 fee for any well operating permit, provided, however, the fee shall be waived for the initial round of permit issuance in 2014, that would solve the problem. You can just add a phrase to that existing sentence.
Councilor DeForest, are you making that a motion?
Yes, I would like to make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kincaid. Ms. Ellison, do we need to move anything on the original before we do this amendment, or are we clear in voting on this amendment at this time?
Now, you can, did you have a motion to introduce the ordinance yet?
We did not. That's what I'm
Yeah, you
checking.
should have that motion first and then the motion to amend. This is also on for first reading
Right.
only tonight, so you can just get the motion and then ask if there's a motion to amend.
Make the motion, introduce it.
Moved by Councilor Lubke. Is there a second on introducing this item?
I'll second.
Second by DeForest. At this time, Councilor DeForest, your motion is in order.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion to amend the language in the ordinance to reflect a waiving of the fee for the first round permitting cycle.
Second by Kincaid. All in favor of that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The amendment is approved 6-0. And is there any further discussion on this item tonight? Otherwise, we will vote on laying it over to our next meeting.
Move to lay it over.
I believe that's already on the table, so if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, 6-0. That will come back at our next meeting for a second reading and approval.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8 is appointments. We have none. Item 9 is counselor activities and upcoming events. Counselor Lupke.
I was very pleased to go to represent the city with other councilors at the Fran Frusen dedication. And like often said that night, it's nice to dedicate a school to somebody who can actually be there to see it. And I got the feeling Fran's going to be around for many years yet. It was a nice evening, and as soon as our city manager got done talking, the rain started, so it worked out perfect. The farmer's market again was, they keep on adding more every week, and I got lots of good sweetbreads and other stuff to satisfy my sweet tooth. So I think this Saturday, the whole thing starts, so downtown Beloit will be filled up this Saturday, so hopefully we'll have a lot of shoppers down there for the second largest farmer's market in the state of Wisconsin. And lastly, it was nice to be with fellow councilors in the parade on Memorial Day. That's it.
Counselor DeForest.
Thank you. I did absolutely enjoy the groundbreaking for the Fran Frusen Intermediate School as well. Certainly a well-earned recognition for Mr. Frusen, and I'm so proud of our school district and the fine leaders that we have in it and the fine student leaders that it produces. I would also I'd like to acknowledge Markia, Alicia, and Heather for doing a fantastic job with the Stop the Violence event that was held at Riverside Park yesterday. We had a great turnout, and I also wanted to express my gratitude for several members of the Beloit Police Department who attended to encourage communication and dialogue and be part of the solution. So thank you to those officers for being there. And then finally, I would like to thank and welcome Eric Miller for being promoted to Director of Finance and Administration. We're thrilled to have you serve in that position now, and I'm always so glad when we can promote someone from within. You certainly know our organization and how things work, and you've done a fantastic job in the past, and so we work really closely with the budget, so you mean a lot to us, so thank you so much, and we're thrilled to have you in that position. Mm-hmm.
Counselor Kincaid.
I have nothing today.
Counselor Kelly.
Well, I was at the groundbreaking as well, and at the parade, and also at the farmer's market, helping promote the summer food program, which all kids in Beloit can get free lunch and breakfast regardless of income. There's many places you can check it out on their website, and there's flyers everywhere. And there's been all kinds of activities and awards presentations and banquets at the school, and it's been lots of fun.
Vice President Haynes.
I have nothing today.
And I also walked in the Memorial Day Parade and had a great time there. The rain ended by the time we got to Beloit, so that was wonderful. Of course. And attended the Fran Frusen Intermediate School dedication, which was a great event. I had a chance to attend two of the events focused on stopping the violence, both the Stop the Violence event at Riverside Park yesterday, which was very well attended and a wonderful event, and also the town hall that was organized by Community Action a previous Friday, which was also a great event, especially being planned on short notice, and had a number of compelling speakers who are very interested in rolling up their sleeves and getting to work to address issues in our community. And I know there's another meeting scheduled to follow up on some of those ideas, so hopefully that will all be successful, and we have not, as far as I'm aware, had new incidents since these events, and we hope that trend continues. I also just wanted to announce that remind everybody that the deadline for applying to be on the City Council to fill the remaining term of Councilor Levy is this Wednesday at 5 p.m. So if you are thinking of applying, please make sure that you have your application into the City Clerk's office by 5 p.m. on Wednesday. That is a firm deadline. Thank you. And item number 10, City Manager's presentation, 10A.
Summer Library Club.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Schomber. I'm head of youth services at the Beloit Public Library.
And I'm Tina Kukuski, head of adult services at the library.
And we've put together a small, short, hopefully, PowerPoint for you this evening, just to let you know about our upcoming Summer Library Club events. But before we start talking about some of those events, just wanted to give you some exciting numbers. We actually moved into our new building 5 years ago, and in the last 5 years, we've had over 1.4 million people walk through our doors. That number just blows me away. We've had 2.5 million items checked out from the library. Most of them have been returned. Over 20,000 hours have been volunteered at the library. We've had 67,000 people attend all of our different programs, children's programs, teen programs, adult programs, and we've had over 279,000 people log on to our internet computers. I just think those are some pretty impressive numbers for the last 5 years in that beautiful new building that we have. And the reason we've had such great numbers is because of a lot of the programs that we offer at the library, the media that we have available with our DVDs, the selection. You can jump in anytime.
We have many wonderful selectors that are picking out items for the community to check out from the library. So I think they're doing a great job in picking out what the community wants.
And a lot of the promotions that we've done in the community, we're really trying to step that up and be very focused in our marketing efforts, which is one of the reasons that we're here tonight. We've also gone into the schools this past spring, or just a couple of weeks ago, to promote our upcoming Summer Library Club events. And
I think we have flexibility up on our PowerPoint also, and that refers to, we listen to what our citizens are asking us to get for the library. And that again goes with the selection part of this too. If somebody wants a particular item, we will look into getting it for them. So we are trying to be responsive to the community, and I think that shows.
Okay, so like I said, we have our Summer Library Club coming up this summer, and it's for everybody, kids, teens, adults, families. We've got a little bit for everyone. The children's program that we have is for kids 12 and younger, and it's called Fizz Boom Read. So a lot of the events that we're going to have this summer are based on a very science-y sort of theme. The program will kick off with our event on Saturday, June 14th from 1 to 3 p.m. It's called Exploring Science, and we actually have scientists coming from Beloit College and Carry Ingredients to offer some hands-on kind of science experiments activities for kids in our public meeting room. We also have Culvers coming to give us some free treats that day, so thank you to Culvers. We appreciate that. Along with the programs that we have, which I'll describe in just a minute, we do have a reading program. And the point of the reading program is to encourage kids to keep reading throughout the summer. A lot of schools have kids who finish out the school year with really high reading scores. Summer hits, and we get the summer slide, and then when the kids get back to school in the fall, those scores aren't as high as they could be. So our program is to encourage kids to keep reading throughout the summer. So as long as the kids read for at least 2 hours each week, they can get some prizes, just small weekly prizes from us. Pencils, folders, bookmarks, door hangers, things like that. And then as long as they read for at least, for the whole 7 reading periods throughout the summer, they get to put their name in for one of our big prizes that we'll be offering at the end of the summer. Some of those bigger prizes include a forensics kit, or a microscope, or a grossology lab game with science experiments in it. So that's something that the kids can sign up for starting on June 14th at our kickoff event. I did mention we have programs and performers who will be there. We have our Tales and Treats program, which this year will include some runaway experiments, some time travel experiments, bubble experiments, all sorts of things that that kids will really enjoy doing. We have our regular story times on Wednesday mornings for our kids 6 and younger. We have 2 story times at 10 and 11. We ended up doing 2 story times because we have so many kids who show up for them that we needed 2, which is a good thing. We have our tween time programs on Wednesday afternoons, and one of the programs that I'm really looking forward to with that is a fingerprinting program. We actually have somebody from the police department who's going to be coming and showing kids how to do fingerprinting and things along those lines. We also have somebody coming dressed up as Thomas Edison, an inventor, who will talk about some of his inventions. We have poolside stories at Kruger Park, Wednesdays at 3 o'clock. We have baby play dates on Thursday mornings, the first and third Thursday of the month. And then we have our family fun days, which this year will include programs on astronomy, wildlife, and then we also have an arts and crafts and games day. And we just kind of put out arts and crafts and games for the kids to play. And those are really very well attended programs because parents can kind of just let their kids have fun at the library. It's not having, oh, there we go. Oh, shoot, sorry. Let me go back. Too fast. There we go. I was so glad that Counselor Kelly talked about summer feeding program because the library is participating in that this year. We did it last year for the first time, and because we're so busy in the months of June and July, we really can't accommodate at that time, but we did pick a week in August. It's going to be the full week of August 18th to the 22nd, and that is co-sponsored by the Beloit School District and the New Zion Baptist Church, and that is for kids 18 and younger that just can come to the library and be fed during that week. We realize the importance of making sure that kids have nutritional meals throughout the summer. And then finally, we also, well, not finally, but one more thing. We have Read to Lily. We have our dog that comes to the library that kids can read to, and that will be in June, July, and August. And then finally, we have a new program that we're doing this year. It's called Growing Rock County Readers, 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, and it's an early initiative, early literacy initiative that we are doing in conjunction with the Arrowhead Library System. It was funded with a grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. And what it is it's a multi-year program that we're kicking off this year that encourages families to read to or have their children read 1,000 books before they reach kindergarten. And we'll have some incentives along the way with that program as well. We just really wanted to encourage parents to participate in that program right now because with Summer Library Club coming up, the books that they read for Summer Library Club will count for the 1,000 books before kindergarten. We also have the website up there, and people can get to that website from our library website as well. There we go. All right, I'll turn it over to Tina.
Thank you. Well, we think that the kids shouldn't be the only ones to have fun in the summer, so we're going to have programs also for teens and adults. And the Adult Services Department encompasses both the teens and adults, so the teen theme is Spark a Reaction, Get Creative. And this starts on June 16th and runs through July 31st. We also have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Gaming Club that is ongoing right now. It meets the first Tuesday of every month. We're going to expand that to meet the first every Tuesday in June and July. And we have a lot of folks come out to do that. They enjoy it a lot, and they just have a really great time. Of course, offering pop and chips probably helps out with that, too. Also, we are doing 3 special creative events. They're the Sharpie tie-dye t-shirts. We are going to be having some Marshmallow Madness going on at the library. And also there's a closing maker event where it's just a crafty type event that everybody can come and do what they want to do with what we have hanging around there at the library, craft-wise. We're also continuing our paper-backed book club for high schoolers. This was started earlier this year, and it had a very slow start, but the momentum is picking up. We have 4 people already signed up to do this, and part of this paper-backed club is if you sign up within the first 5 people to sign up, you get a free book, and people are coming in for that. Of course, the pizza and pop goes with that, too. And then we also have the 3 reading club periods, which are June 16th through the 28th, June 30th through July 19th, and July 21st through the 31st. That's where you sign up to participate. When you read a book, you fill out a slip, put it in the box that we have on our display, and we will pull a name out of the ballot box at the end of each period and give prizes. There's a grand prize too. You have to participate in all 3 reading periods, and we will give you a $25 gift certificate, a $50 gift certificate, or a $75 gift certificate. These are big numbers for our teens. I think we'll get a lot of participants in this. Now, for the adults, we have to have some fun too, so we're going back to the beach. And this kicked off today. From June 2nd through August 30th, we will be doing various adult fun things, and one of them is to play Books Bingo. This is a bingo card that our Arrowhead library person created for us. The idea is to pick up a bingo card, read from each of the categories on the card, have it stamped when you're finished with it, turn the card in, and you will be in a drawing, that's the word I was trying to think of, a drawing for a grand prize at the end of the summer. We haven't put out what the grand prize is, but there will also be gifts throughout the summer. We are also continuing with our Great Outdoors at Your Library campaign, which is part of the Arrowhead Library System. In fact, this coming Saturday on June 7th, we're going to have a fly casting clinic at Rock River. We have the fly caster group from Northern Illinois is coming in to show people how to fly cast, and they're providing the equipment, and they're going to show you how to do that right down at the river. We meet at the library and walk down to the river to participate in that. Hopefully we'll have sun this Saturday. We're also having Christy Marsden from UW Extension come in and do an emerald ash borer program to let everybody know what they can do to prevent their trees from being decimated by the emerald ash borer. And sometimes it's cutting the trees down. Other times she might have some solutions for that. And we're also doing a program on Tree IQ. It's how to keep your trees alive in the summer, when to plant in the fall, and what you can do to prepare for winter with trees. So these are all part of the Great Outdoors at Your Library program. We also are continuing with our fun book-to-film promotion. In June, we'll be showing Philomena. That will be this Wednesday. Last time we had, what did we show?
We were supposed to show Captain Phillips.
Captain Phillips, but we had a power outage that day. So as you can see, Captain Phillips has been put into August. But June is Philomena, July we're showing Monuments Men, and in August it's Captain Phillips. And what has really increased the attendance at the showings is we give away a copy of the Blu-ray at the end of the night. All you have to do is put your name in the drawing to be able to take that home with you. This is a very popular event, and it's getting more popular. We also continue with our Adopt-A-Shelf volunteer training. This is open to anybody that would like to come in and help us keep our shelves in order. And people do sign up to do this, and they have their own special place in the library. They love to come in and just make sure that everything is all set up the way it should be. We also have our State Line Genealogy Club, which meets once a month, June 13th, July 11th, and August 8th. But July really means beach reading. So that's why we're going back to the beach with the adult program. We'll have beach reading giveaways for customers and staff during these 4 weeks. Most of it is in July. It ends up on August 2nd. And when I say customers and staff likes to get into the swing of things too for the summer. And there are giveaways for everyone at the end of each week. You put your name in. Again, we do a lot of drawing type things at the library. Summer means fun for everyone, of course, so we do have a family event coming up where we go back to the beach movie marathon all day Saturday, July 19th. We're going to be showing some old favorites like Gidget, Beach Party, Beach Blanket Bingo, and a new old favorite, Teen Beach Movie. So you can see what the theme is. It's beach, of course, and we're all wanting to have a lot of fun this summer. Many thanks to Fable, our friends at Beloit Library, and the Beloit City Council for making all of this possible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the library? Otherwise, we will move on to Councilor Kincaid.
I just want to thank you. I thought I knew a lot about the library, but you were over the top. We all really appreciate your information.
Item 11 is reports from boards and city officers, 11A.
Resolution adopting the City of Beloit strategic plan for 2015.
Mr. City Manager.
President, as you know, updating the strategic plan for the coming year is really the first phase of the annual budget preparation process. This phase began several months ago. Departments and divisions began reviewing all their strategic objectives, looking at new projects and continuing work projects for the coming year. Earlier in the summer, earlier in May, the city's entire management team went over all of those strategic objectives, also went through the city's vision statement, mission statement, and the 5 key goals that we use to start to overview all of the services, activities, and projects that the city implements each year. Following that, we held a day-long workshop with council. We went through all of the submittals from the various departments and divisions. Number of questions and comments from councilors. That resulted in a final round of amendments to the strategic plan itself, adding some additional strategic objectives, modifying others, and that work is now complete. The plan is before you this evening for adoption. We normally officially adopt the plan early in June. The next step in the budget process will be a workshop on June 16th prior to your regular city council meeting on that evening, which will be kind of a pre-review or an overview of topics that we share with council before we actually start putting the budget itself together. So if there are any more questions, or any questions I should say, or any comments on the strategic plan, be happy to address those.
Are there any questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Haynes, second by Lubke. Is there any further conversation? Councilor DeForest.
I would like to thank the staff for working so hard to include some of the changes and additions that we wanted to see in this budget. So I wanted to thank them for being open-minded to some of those things and look forward to working through how we're going to implement them. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The strategic plan is approved 6-0. Item 12, is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Kelly, second by Lubke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We're adjourned at 7:50. 7:55, yes. I can read clocks, I promise.
Well, why don't you just leave it with me and take it over to IT and, thank you, and have them take a look at it. I'm not sure what it's doing.
I'm having trouble, I can't